We are recording and recording.
All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Darius Schompart, Chair of the IDA Finance Committee, City of Albany IDA Finance Committee. We have a quorum here today with Elizabeth Staubach, Anthony Gaddy, and myself. We're also joined by everyone else from the IDA except for Lee and Vince at this point. They knew what this First order of business is our minutes, and them having been previously distributed, and ask for a motion to dispense with the reading and accept them as presented. Oh, yeah. Great. All in favor? Aye. Our next order of business for the Chief Financial Officer, but we do not have one at this point.
We do not have one today. We'll have one next.
Right. Right. And the next order of business, unfinished business, which is Northgate Landing, an affordable housing project to replace a motel on 500 Northern Boulevard. And also for discussion, there's a bit of more information on the project and discussion of a recommendation public hearing resolution. Andy?
Thank you, sir. So as we may or may not recall, this project was introduced at the previous month's finance committee meeting. It consists of the demolition of 3 underutilized vacant structures totaling over 100,000 square feet and the construction of 2 new 4-story buildings totaling approximately 233,000 square feet. And the development will contain approximately 185 units of affordable housing for incomes ranging from 30% to 80% of AMI. One thing to note is the assessed values here on your project summary sheet will change. We have been working in conjunction with the applicant and the assessor to release the assessor's estimate of the improved assessed value. That will really be for comparative purposes only here. The request at hand is for a 10% shelter rent, which is per IDA policy manual. And we'll dive into that a little bit further when we jump into the pro forma. This is an estimated investment of $80.9 million. And again, since this is purpose-built affordable housing, it is per our policy is evaluated outside of the project evaluation and assistance framework. However, we did run through our matrix scoring process, so we do have a comparative piece to look at. And we will jump down that point by point in a minute. As we do with all projects requesting any sort of real property tax abatements or like the red pilots, we did work with the Capital District Regional Planning Commission to create an in-plan analysis, which is an economic impact analysis through in-plan, I should say, looking at the direct, indirect, and induced effects of not only the temporary construction jobs on site, but the projected permanent jobs on site. You can see the output tables there within your summary with the total effect during construction of 79.5 million and the permanent operations going forward 244,000 on an annual basis. Those jobs that are being projected are 2 full-time jobs and 200 construction jobs. So we will run through our matrix scoring again for comparative purposes only, as this was evaluated outside of the plan. The project is located within a distressed census tract 2.02, which would be a point. The project is going to engage currently vacant property, which would be a point. And under identified growth area, the project is does consist of a conversion to a residential use from a former commercial use. Coming down to job creation, under construction jobs, the project receives a cumulative 3 points for having projected 200 construction jobs. And under financial commitment, a cumulative 3 points for being just over an $80 million investment. This leaves the project with 9 points for comparative purposes. Any questions thus far? Would like to hop into the pro forma, so I would suggest entering into an executive session to discuss the financial history and status of the corporation.
And this was the supplemental material that we received via email.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion to enter into executive session?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Give me one.
And we are back. All right. We've exited executive session. No action was taken. Merely discussed the pro forma financials of Northgate. So, send it back to Andy. Do you have anything else that you want to discuss here? Or?
Sure, I just wanted to note, that the applicant, and I believe they do mention this in the cover letter, this project does have the support of the, council member for that ward. And this project has been, as far as we can tell, received very positively, and we will continue to update the committee and the board if any other positive or negative comments are received.
Okay, yeah, I do have a question on that because I've heard, and I think you're here to have a convert, Momar Hermeside. Yeah, great. I've heard that there's been some pushback from the community.
Well, so I think in context, I would love to give her
Yeah,
context.
please
In
do,
context,
please.
there's a small contingent of owners on the condo side, but the vast majority of the community that we've been working with has been overall positive about this, because what they do understand is that bringing this level of mass of affordable housing and housing in general into the area, what it allows for this area to get is the level of services it has not gotten before. So things like supermarkets, et cetera. And Conifer has taken a great interest in developing in Albany and developing, further in Albany. We even were looking at the most recent closing of the school in Albany as a possible site that we look for to do housing and more commercial. But it starts here, right? You gotta get the mass of people in quality housing that are there and that are living there, to get grocery stores there, to get services there, to get things that people really need in the neighborhood. They're going to the neighborhood saying, look, we need services here, we need greater services here, we need economic development here. In order to get that, we need to have the right mass of folks there. So this is what we're working on. And looking at the site, when the owner approached us and we spoke to the owner about the sale, the owner's first option, unfortunately, was to do migrant housing there, which I think was highly undesirable. So we took it off the market. We've been a good actor. We've been working with local officials, the governor's office, et cetera, to make sure that we can bring in the financial resources necessary to develop at this scale.
Terrific. Thank you. I will point out in the letter that Conifer has sent to the IDA, it lays out the breakdown of how many units are targeted for specific percentages of AMI to those individuals. I'd also say that, this is 100% affordable housing, which there has been a hue and cry for, positively by many people in the city. And that this is not subject to the recent inclusive zoning rules passed by the council, because it meets the inclusive zoning rules by the council as an all affordable project. And I'd also point out that this is projects like this are made possible by specific incentives that are not really available to cities, come from states and the state and federal government to enable this kind of development. So I don't know if anybody has any other comments or questions. The only thing I would also point out is that in the estimates, find it here, for the net gain, I think Andy touched on it earlier, but the net gain to the jurisdiction is going to be even higher because the property value of the property has been reduced over the last year or so. So overall, it's a large gain in revenue for the city for shelter projects, which is quite frankly a little bit unusual for shelter projects.
And one thing I will add is the second development in Albany. First, we go Station 25. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that. We can always get everyone on the board more information about that one. But it's a really nicely done project, and we can get the address and we can do walkthroughs and take a look at it prior to making sure it's fully occupied. But that had a demand of around 300 people for about 40 to 50 available units.
Yeah.
There's 25 Delaware Avenue.
25 Delaware.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any other issues? Oh, I have one more question. The lawsuit list that we have here, those are active, those are not settled. Those are active suits.
I'm not aware of what the lawsuit.
I think it's,
General counsel.
yeah, I think it's just a pending litigation.
Pending litigation,
I'm sure there are
okay.
various stages.
Sorry.
It wasn't necessarily unusual for larger actors.
Yeah, most I see are slip and fall incidents and things like that. All right. Then I guess I would ask for a motion to put this forward for a public hearing.
One second.
All those in favor? Aye. See the public hearing?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
All right. All right, next order of business is our annual review of agency policies. Yeah. All right,
So as you guys know, it's best practice to review the procurement and investment policies and the statement of intent and financing guidelines regarding debt on an annual basis. Those have all been previously distributed to the committee and you have them in your packet as well for review. And we just wanted to, take note today that the committee has reviewed these for this year and confirm, whether or not there are any proposed changes.
great. I would note for the record that we have reviewed these, and unless someone has any recommendations for changes, speak now or forever hold your peace. All right. Well, we're gonna be very conservative and not hold any changes today. All right. Finance committee self-evaluation.
Yes, so that is also in your packet and has been distributed previously. Another best practice that the committee performs this annually. Staff has provided a memo that summarizes the meetings, activities, and accomplishments taken place over the course of the year. So we just ask that you have reviewed that and confirm that there's no recommended changes there on the self-evaluation of the committee.
Again, speak now or forever hold your peace. All right. You've done a good job, everybody. All right. Agency updates.
I have a couple of those.
Okay,
So we have, coming up in February, the New York State Economic Development Council, Economic Development Conference. That's on February 13th and 14th at the Albany Capitol Center. I think it's been there for the past few years. We typically would invite board members, to, attend that conference and encourage that. As well as staff will likely be in, attendance. And then, just wanted to advise folks, that the IDA would plan, as in past years, to be more, bronze level sponsor of that event. So it's focused in Albany and a good economic development event.
And I think we have done that at least the past 2 years, I would say, possibly.
yeah,
So that's that one. So I guess let staff know, if you would like to attend, there's definitely plenty of time. But that's coming up next year. And then on the near term, the Capitalize Albany annual event is tomorrow night, starting at 5:30 at the Albany Black Chamber on 141 Washington Ave. So we encourage you all to attend that as well. That will be a nice evening. I'm sure most of you are familiar with that, of cocktails and light appetizers and presentation on this year's accomplishments related to Capitalize Albany. We'll have an excellent small business panel that will be engaging with the Building Improvement Grant Program grantees. Parking at Albany Institute of History and Art as well. So that will be provided to us, but also on street parking as well.
So it hasn't been a busy week.
Just hanging out over here.
Just chill, everybody's chill, it's all good. So we hope
The heads up on the parking.
yeah, there should also be a relatively small sign that dictates that there's parking there for our event and that you go to the building.
Small enough that we're giving you priority.
Yeah.
Everyone watching this.
Also, we'll have a heads up on parking.
Everyone watching this meeting now knows. Great.
Yeah. And then I think I have, one final agency update related there. We just wanted to tee up for this committee that, for you all to expect a quick update in the governance committee meeting next week. An update, progress update on the framework, that we'll be getting back into that. We wanted to just sort of reintroduce that, to the
Give a
governance.
refresher, because it's been some months, so we'll provide an update, on where we went, where we are, and where we hope to go in 2024.
Great.
And as a supplemental addendum to that, expect an update, from the city assessor as part of that discussion.
All right. Compliance update?
None for today.
We're very compliant.
I think we'll go with that. Yeah.
All right. Then I would ask for a motion to adjourn. We'll move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, capital reserve, great.